Starbucks, known in the US for its consistent, reliable, mediocre coffee. As the US exploded through third-wave coffee, Starbucks quietly remained in the background as most people's default, but first, coffee. But in China, Starbucks has a completely different reputation. It's a luxury brand. How did that happen? Well, I'll tell you.
Even though most people here carry a really strong sense of nationalism, Made in China still carries the exact same reputation that it does in the West.
China accidentally picked up this reputation in becoming the world's factory. It just doesn't make sense to manufacture crap in a developed country, because the cost of labor would make for expensive crap. So China took this opportunity to help build its economy. Even though they build quality products like Aperture lights, DJI drones, and Yamaha speakers.
Unfortunately, it's just easier to make crap than it is to make something valuable, so the crap ends up outweighing the gold.
And this isn't a phenomenon that only people outside of China recognized. These same crap products found their way onto Taobao and Alibaba, causing Chinese consumers to favor Western products like Louis Vuitton, DeWalt power tools, and Dole bananas. This preference for Western products is especially true when it comes to German products. It's not uncommon to see Chinese products on Alibaba and Taobao that claim to be German verified, or German style, or even just flat out German. You know, Leodano, that German brand. So for the last 20 plus years, Starbucks too has been a symbol of Western quality. And as a company, they leaned hard into it. People in China didn't really drink coffee at the time, but the idea of going to Starbucks and writing a novel, well, that's just the thing you do. Basically, every new shopping mall in China has a Starbucks at the entrance, just like in America. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that Starbucks actually sometimes gets its rent fees waived in exchange for running a location in a popular spot because they attract customers to the mall by making them feel like it's a cool place to be. But over the last few years, things have started to change. Coffee has started to become popular as a drink rather than a novelty. Starbucks didn't lag behind in this transition, and they quickly began opening their fancy Starbucks Reserve locations in the most expensive areas in an attempt to solidify their brand as luxury coffee. Personally, I think that was a terrible mistake, because in 2017, Luckin Coffee opened its first location, slipping into the void that Starbucks left for default coffee, the same role that they occupy in the US. Luckin Coffee caught people's attention by offering free coffee to anyone who downloaded their app. Unlike Starbucks, Luckin Coffee had no reputation to coast on, so people weren't about to just step in to take photos of themselves holding a coffee. They had to step in there to get coffee. And Luckin started with the same criticisms as MoviePass. How can you make money by losing money on every sale? People are just going to take what they can get for free and then leave you bankrupt. But where MoviePass failed, Luckin showed it can work. They built a huge customer base of people who got hooked on coffee. And even though Bloomberg tried to claim that they failed, they brought a ton of people into their Luckin community. For the first time in China, people were drinking coffee because they liked it, not just to show off their Western lifestyle. Luckin constantly changed up their menu, adding creative drinks that often ended up getting them social media attention. As demand for coffee in China continued to grow, independent coffee shops began appearing left and right, and up, and diagonal, and down, and at like a 30-degree angle. Some failing, some quite successful. In fact, in my video where I trolled the delivery company by ordering from every coffee shop in my area at the same time, watch it to the end, and subscribe, I decided the worst coffee was clack.
Yeah. No, not good. No, don't order that. Yeah.
But since then, I've noticed them gaining popularity, and because it's so close to me, I went back. I don't know what happened that first time, but this time their coffee was actually really, really good, and I get it several times a week now. Good for them. But as for their name, in the words of Crystalia,
change it.
Several coffee roasters have raised the bar extremely high amongst China's coffee competition. Seesaw, originally from Shanghai, opened several locations in Shenzhen and has received investment from Hey Tea, the popular milk tea shop that cares about the environment, the one that Bloomberg thought would overtake Luckin and hasn't overtaken Luckin. Morse Coffee, started by a guy named Tony, who also spent a lot of time in San Francisco, really understands coffee, and he roasts all their coffee in-house. And they've opened several locations across Shenzhen. At the Shenzhen Coffee Expo, they were by far the most popular. And there's roasters like Honey Coffee, purchased by Martin Hall, from Holland, apologies for the pronunciation, with the goal of focusing on sustainability, supporting rural communities through agricultural projects, and helping them improve their product, and then buying it from them. This way, these communities can focus on their home areas without having to move to big cities and leave their homes behind. The story behind this guy is actually super interesting, and I wanted to dedicate an entire video to it, but COVID. All of this together is why I think Starbucks China is in trouble. They just gave up their position that made them so relevant in the US and handed it to Luckin. There's infinite competition in the good coffee space now. So the only thing they have going for them is their Western luxury reputation. But they're trying really hard to wreck that. They lean into their prestigious, arrogant model, and it's making people start to change their minds about what it means to go to Starbucks. A story about them went viral when they kicked a security guard off their property for eating his lunch in front of a Starbucks. And how much longer is it going to be before people start to see through the luxury coffee facade? It's one thing if your product is actually genuinely really good, but it's another when it's just marketing. As people discover Starbucks' reputation outside China, they're going to feel ripped off. I paid $10 for basically a cup of McDonald's coffee. Imagine how you'd feel if you bought a Ferrari and then found out that it was considered a bland, burnt car brand in Italy, and that people there didn't even think twice about driving one. It was just a regular car. In America, Starbucks is like, I'm on my way to work, I need to grab a cup of coffee. In China, that's Luckin Coffee. Luckin locations are where average workers need to grab a quick coffee on their way to work or during their 10-minute break. Luckin Express vending machines are strategically placed near workers who have difficult jobs with long hours and relatively low salaries. This one was right near a huge package sorting facility, and it was very clear that it's used relatively frequently considering the amount of fresh water that they had stored next to it. Starbucks, in contrast, positions itself only where it can show off its brand. Big signs in fancy places. And for a long time, it's worked well for them. But now that China is moving away from developing country status and Made in China is making a comeback, how much longer before patriotism for homegrown brands makes Starbucks irrelevant? Crap product manufacturing is being moved to Bangladesh and Vietnam. So the ratio of quality products made in China continues to increase, and that sentiment of things made here suck is changing. When people want luxury, they don't necessarily choose the Western option anymore. Like when they buy Neo cars over Tesla.
Next to a Starbucks.
Or DJI drones over... Wait, is there even a Western company that makes drones? This idea isn't just my speculation. Luckin Coffee's profits have continued to rise, even through COVID lockdowns and restrictions and store closures, while Starbucks's haven't. Luckin has continued to develop its customer base through the large WeChat groups in which they send coupons and keep track of which drinks people want to come back to the menu. They have over 20 million users in these group chats, with over half being active in the group chats. Starbucks hasn't. Luckin Coffee continues to become more and more relevant as Starbucks just coasts on its reputation.
So this video is essentially sponsored by Jack Allen. I owe a huge thanks to all the rest of my patrons as well. Thanks so much, guys. But Jack literally subscribed to the 8888 tier, the one I made as a joke. He asked me several direct questions that I promised I would answer in a video, but one of his questions was that out of 10 random city dwellers, how many would know about Luckin Coffee? Well, Jack, let's find out.
我啥都不懂，只会我都没有不知道咖啡啥味道，你问我，我哪知道啥？你有没有喝过咖啡呀？没有，没有。哦，那你有听过瑞幸咖啡吗？有没有？你平时都是喝什么？喝开水啊，喝开水是啊，然后每天喝开水啊。哦，你喜欢喝咖啡吗？咖啡。嗯。那你有听过瑞幸咖啡吗？你有喝过瑞幸咖啡吗？会啦，因为我们比较喜欢喝白开水。喝过咖啡。那你平时都喝什么？喝茶哦。那你有听过瑞幸咖啡吗？ 没有听过瑞幸咖啡哦。哦，什么？哦，OK，不好意思哦。你们喝过咖啡吗？
不喝咖啡。
您不喝咖啡哦？喝茶。
我们喝啤酒。
喝啤酒。那你们有听过瑞幸咖啡吗？瑞幸。没听。啊。哦。真的。你们喝咖啡吗？
中文说的挺好的了。
啊，喝啊。那你听过瑞幸咖啡吗？
我没听的，我也是一出的。
你平时喝咖啡吗？
很少。
很少哦，我以为你坐在这里是要点咖啡喝。那你平时一般都喝什么饮料？
喝水，不喝饮料。你
喝茶吗？也不喝。哦，那你有听过瑞幸咖啡吗？瑞。是。你喝咖啡吗？哦，那你很喜欢喝咖啡？对。哦，那你听过瑞幸咖啡吗？听过。你经常喝瑞幸咖啡还是其他品牌的咖啡？
看哪个进口。
没有一个特别喜欢的一个说忠诚度的品牌。
如果是深椰拿铁的话，我会选
深椰拿铁。
对。
你们为什么会选这个咖啡？好喝哦。那你们有喝过瑞幸吗？没有。没有哦。你们为什么不选择瑞幸？不知道。不知道。好，谢谢你们。你是经常来星巴克喝的吗？
对。哦，星巴克。
那你有听过瑞幸咖啡吗？
也有。有。
你有
小蓝杯。
你有试过它吗？
试过。
试过。但是你还是倾向于选？
都随意。其实可能更多小蓝杯多一点，它性价比更高一点。
然后有时候
路过这边会休息。毕竟小蓝杯它休息的环境很宽裕。
明白。
对吧？
是的，谢谢。
It'll be interesting to see how Starbucks manages in the future. Will they get absorbed by the saturated market, or will they continue to hold their niche? It's clear that they have a strong hold in the US and they aren't going anywhere soon. But in China, they're already outnumbered by Luckin locations. If they don't figure out how to remain relevant, they're gonna be donezo in China.
Thanks again, Jack. Seriously. Thanks.